Okay, now we're live. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the live stream. Welcome to the Soul Kitchen. I've just been talking away and once again forgot to push some other buttons. Okay, let's start this again. Anyway, here's what I'm doing tonight. I have streamlined my mixing process, PDF basically. And I want to see, it's a little bit of this sculpture was not turning out the way I wanted it. So I have basically taken the clay, mashed it back all down to a ball, and I'm resculpting using a more streamlined process. And I want to see how quickly I can move through a mix and start getting it to sound somewhat like what I want it to sound like. Now, this is a crazy sounding mix. I was listening to it a little bit before I got on. And so this is going to be interesting to say the least. Nothing is balanced. I did gain stage it, so you didn't have to suffer through that. So let's see what we got here. Man, I wish I could get, I've got to get this, the video looking as good on YouTube as it is in OBS. I'm sure it's something I'm overlooking. And I keep meaning to fix that and I keep forgetting. Okay. So let me show you what I'm doing here real quick. First of all, let me shrink my head out of your face so you can see what I'm talking about. You can see my project here. And look, there I am again. So let me goodbye. All right. Let's see what this looks like here. Let's move this. Let's see how much. Let me adjust this just a little bit so we can see this a little bit better too. Okay, good. Because we're starting on the mix bus. We're doing some top-down mixing here. Let me show you what this PDF looks like. Eventually, if this works, and I find it to be something very useful, I am going to be sharing this PDF. And let me show you what it looks like. So, here it is. This has got the mix chain. It's got all the settings. It's telling you kind of why, kind of helping me remember why, and also teaching me more as I'm going along. And you can see, like, we got lead vocal, backing vocals, horns. But we're going to fix horns. We're going to duplicate. That's probably going to be a second video, to be honest. So we're going to focus on mix bus, lead vocals, backing vocals, drums, and bass. And that's a lie, because actually what we're going to do is we're going to focus on getting the tape and console across these things and subtractive EQ so that we can start balancing the mix and compression. That's how we're going to do this. But mix bus, we're going to do it fully. All right, well, let's get this party started. All right. Man, you can really hear that, my rhythm guitar, which I'm not even sure I'm keeping in there. But, all right, I digress. Let's just keep moving here. All right, so on the mix bus, basically what I did is I went to tape and I put it on nominal instead of a higher bias, because you could hear it was creating, it was getting too saturated, in my opinion. I wanted it a little cleaner, and also because I'm adding tape to all of the digital stuff that I use, which is strings, horns, flutes, any of the Logic MIDI instruments that I used. So that's where we're starting. And I'm giving a little headroom for the meter as well. I am starting on the biggest part of the song, so let's keep going here. I'm totally fine with that. Let's go to the console. Yeah, we're going to drive it to about 7. Fine by me. Works for me. All right, now we're going to stick. We're going to go ahead and do Universal Audio. I'm going to do the Pultec Pro Legacy, Pro Legacy, just because it also gives me mid-range. Pultec Pro. Yeah, this is another reason why I'm not staying on too late, because I'm a little tired today. I don't know about you guys, but yeah, Pro Legacy. There we go. Also because it gives me some mid-frequency if I want to mess with it. I just like to have the option. Chances are I'm probably not. So we are going to start with the bandwidth, about 5 on this. We're going to boost around 1 dB around 60. That's where we'll start. Attenuate about 0.5. We're just doing very, very gentle stuff here. And then at 10K, 1.5 boosting. Yeah, we'll start there. And the attend cell we'll leave at 10. All right, and then we're going to use one of my favorite compressors, which is the Fairchild 670. I love this thing. I love this thing. All right, we'll start input around 11. Threshold around 1 o'clock. Time constant at around 2. Side chain. We're going to do this around 9 o'clock here. We're also going to do the DC threshold at CAL. We're going to go in between. We'll leave the headroom screw at 12. We'll leave the balance screw also at 12. Makes it a 100%. Yeah, this is great. We don't want maybe I just want to make sure I'm pushing enough into the Fairchild. why. It's great. I just wanted about 1 to 2 dB deduction on that, and we'll just a little makeup gain. I just want to take a little bit of the top and off those hi-hats. All right, let's keep moving. All right, let's get to the lead vocal. All right, lead vocal, we're going to start with some, and you can see I've already got the universal reverb and delay set up here because, like I said, I just started over on this mix just to see. It's a part experiment to see if I've got something, if I'm on to something here with this process, if I've got it a little more streamlined, and part of it is because I was trying too hard to try to fix the mix last time, so I just decided to scrap the clay, start over. All right, we're going to start with the waves in LS. Nevo at about 7. This is important to watch the gain stage on this. All right, that's good. And we're going to add some subtractive EQ. I like waves HEQ. I like to use a graph EQ when I'm doing subtractive EQ because it just helps me see things. And we're going to use UK vintage this time. We're going to do a low pass filter, high pass filter. I'm about 80. And all right, we'll do a little. Let's just. I said I was going to do this like a deck of cards. Don't overthink it. Okay, let's go. 275. Let's do a little reduction, about 1 dB right there. We're going to go to, I don't really like doing this, but I said I was going to do it, so I'm doing it. We'll do about 1. Yeah. 1.5, 1, maybe 2. All right, and on this, we're going to use the Waves Puig Child 670. Time constant 2. Mains at 50, side chain off. All right, great. Let's keep going. We're not going to do any tonal EQs just yet. We're just trying to get up to the point where we can start balancing. So harmonies, harmony bus, the NLS, same. Nevo, also noise off. Let's make sure the noise is off over here as well. Yeah, we don't need that. Also, that's fine. Cool. We're also going to grab Waves NLS, HEQ. Let's do a high pass filter. We're going to go up to 100 on the backing vocals, high pass filter. Also, I'm doing the UK vintage this time, which I really shouldn't be. I should be doing the US vintage since we're trying to do Stax, so let's do it that way. Same here, 275. 1 to 2 dB. Let's go about 2 here, since we want to kind of move it out of the way of the lead vocal. And then about 25 here. We're going to do a dip around 1. All right, also using the Puig Child 670. And the reason I'm doing that is because using the Universal Audio plugins eats up a lot of my CPU, and my mixes will start freezing. That's just how it works for me on my computer at the moment. So that's my workaround. And I think it's a really great compressor. I really like their 670. I can hear there's going to have to be a lot of automation done on those. All right, and we're going to go ahead and turn this room reverb on. I'm using a large plate. We're going to leave it as such. Okay, we got lead vocal, backing vocals. Let's grab the drum mix. All right, this is a live drummer on this. This was done at a studio in Austin. So we are going to skip tape on this. We're going to, because I don't remember how we recorded it. No, we are not going to skip tape. We're going to put tape on it. We are. We're going to do it. We're gonna do it. We gotta bring that down just a bit. I'd like to hit around 16. Alright, that'll work. Oh, you can hear that the barrel sax in there. Alright, let's do the tape on the drum bus. Yes. Alright, we're going with Formula 811. 15 IPS. Saturation about 3 to 4. Because I know we did not record through tape. All right, I like that. We're getting a little snappier snare. And now let's bus. Noise off. Same. Nevo. About 7. Right. Okay, subtractive EQ on the drums here. We're going to keep it about 30 on the high pass filter. All right, we'll do that again. 275. About 1.5 here. And then we're going to do a little dip around 45. 4.5K here. -1. All right. All right, and the Pewig. No, I want the Pewig. We're going to leave the time constant around 1. All right, let's get on to the kick. Kick, NLS. Noise off. No. We're going to drive this about 6. That works. Let's give it a little subtractive EQ here. I'm going to do about 25 on this kick right now. I hope I don't regret that. All right, we're going to do, about 225 here. To bet about, I'm going to do that around 2. $400. We're going to notch this around. Also about -1. We're just trying to keep that. We're trying to remove the boxiness and the mud. When we get to some tonal stuff, we'll restore some of the low end, and we're also trying to get that yummy, airy thing that happens in a lot of the especially early soul stuff. Time constant, leaving it at 1. All right. Now, the question is, should I add tape to this? Because you see, I've already ran it through a process where I had added tape to it a long time ago. So I think I'm going to leave it alone. And if for some reason it's not quite giving me what I need, I mean, yeah, let's just do it. I said I'm not going to overthink it. Be quiet. Just do it. Okay. All right, just do it. Because we want that thump and we want that airiness. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about, but it's almost like you can hear the air just coming through the kick itself. Yeah, we might. All right, I'm liking that. Yeah. That's a pretty sweet spot, I'd say. All right. All right, let's keep moving. All right. Snare, let's get you happening. And let's bus. Nevo, noise off. About 11 o'clock. Let's get the subtractive EQ in here. can high pass this puppy around 80. Bam. And now, so around this boxiness, so another about 275. About minus, doing things very, very subtly here. And then we're going to do, yeah, right there, about. The real big is going to be the overheads. Yeah. Let's get this Buick child in here. All right, let's go ahead and try the tape. It makes me nervous, but I said I was just going to follow it. So let's see what happens. 11, with the hope to thicken the snare and slightly soften the transient spikes. So let's see what it does. Saturation about 2 to 3. We'll do 2. All right, I'm all right with that. Now, let's get these overheads. Let's start out with the console Nevo, right? This is going to be, the subtractive EQ is going to make quite the difference here. This is where I always struggle, and I'm not going to overthink it. I'm going to leave it alone. I'm just going to follow the protocol here, and we're going to keep going. And then I'm going to balance this and see where it lands. That's how we're doing this. This is kind of a total experiment. Like, can I do this like a deck of cards kind of thing? Here you go, here you go, here you go. Move on, move on, move on. All right, this is saying a pretty, I'm going to do 110 pass filter. Oops, I'm going to do that here, 300. We're going to dip that. We're going to do about 2. No, we're going to do 1. Minus 1. And it looks like nothing, huh? But I'm learning a lot about EQ. Like, it's kind of like adding herbs to a stew. Like, you can add a lot, but then you just hit that tipping point where you've just completely screwed up your soup. So I'm trying to, like, calm down, just relax. All right, and at about 5K here, we're going to take you down Really, just one. Okay. We're also going to do the Puig Child 670 here. Time constant 5. Woo! So this is kind of like a slow musical compression. We're trying to get the hug, the cymbals, and the stereo field. So overhead glue without pumping is what we're trying to do here. All right, and we're going to put the tape on here and see what happens, because that is the protocol. Formula 811, 15 bias, saturation about 2.5. All right. All right. Hey. I'm rather digging that. I mean, the problem was I was having I was really fighting with the drums, and let's turn that off. That's a parallel compression we may or may not use for the drums going forward. And so, yay. I mean, already I'm feeling quite a lot better about it, honestly. And I don't know if I just got rid of the hi-hat or what, but that's basically our overheads. I'm letting the overheads handle the hi-hat. We'll see what happens going forward. I may have to come back. I may need to come treat this. As a matter of fact, I am going to go ahead and treat that like the hi-hat. I know we just did this, but I'm going to treat it as such as the hi-hat. Just channel. All right, and then we're going to come here around 4.5K. So we're going to turn that to US Vintage. And we're going to just notch this out about 1 dB. And we are. Am I going to put tape on that too? I'm going to throw the tape on here and see if it's going to help soften the transients a little bit on this. But it could just be partly my ear fatigue too starting to kick in. So I like it. All right. That's what we're going with. Bass. Let's get to the bass. Bass, 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 bass. And I kind of like this drum setup, honestly, because, there's no toms to worry about. We're kind of covering that in the drum bus. And to be honest, like if even using Logic Drummer Generally, I like to just to EQ the toms a little bit. Maybe throw some console and tape on it as well. Kind of warm it up a little bit. Glue it together a little more. But then the rest, I like to take care of that through the drum bus. That's just a sidebar. Okay, bass. Here we go. Bass buzz. All right, so we start with console. Turn off noise. Nevo about 10 o'clock on the bass. I just didn't want to lose too much of the volume on that. All right, here we go. Subtractive EQ on the bass. US vintage. So subtractive E. I'm not even reading the right thing. Let's try that a little bit more. Okay, good. All right, subtractive EQ on the bass. High pass filter around 30. We're going to do a little mud cleanup right there around 275. About minus 1 dB. And so optional on, she's playing with her fingers on this, so I mean, I'm going to do a little bit of at 25 or 2.5K. I'm going to just do a little bit to tame a little bit of any plucking sound. I just want to make sure I'm not losing anything, especially on the bass, because it's kind of important on this song. All right, compression. So the first, we're going to do serial compression on the bass and also sidechain ducking with the kick. So, but the sidechain ducking is going to come after tonal EQ, so we're going to wait a minute on that, I think. I kind of feel like it needs to go on there, so I might just go ahead and do the full-on bass chain here, just so I can have that side kick ducking. So when I'm balancing, I know that that's happening, and I'm not fighting with the bass and the kick. So, all right, first compressor, we're doing the Puig Child, input around 1130. Time constant 2. also love the Puig Child 670 because it's so easy to navigate. All right, so the second one we're going to do on bass is we're going to use Logic's Opto, which is kind of like emulates like closely the LA2A. We're going to turn auto gain off. All right, and on this second compressor, we're going to do a ratio of 3:1. Attack about 10 ms-ish. Release around 120. And then a knee, we're going to go around 5. 0.5. All right, so we want, turn the auto release off too. Yeah, I wanted that between 2 and 4 dB hitting on that UV meter. So let's go ahead and give this its tonal EQ, and we're going to use Logic's Vintage Tube. Kind of gives us a similarity as the Pultec EQ P1A. I like this this EQ a lot. All right, so we're going to go bandwidth about 5. I'm going to pull this up a little bit more so I can read it here. The attend cell about 10. So we're basically just trying to restore the warmth in the body after compressing, while trying to also avoid low-end mud. We're trying to get that classic Stax soul tone. And we'll boost 60 dB around 1 and attenuate about 0.5. Just trying to keep that bottom tight. And that's all we're going to do for right now. All right, so for our sidechain ducking, we're going to use the Vintage VCA. Right, and so in the input, we're going to do where are you? Oh, bus. Why don't I see it? Oh, there you are. Oh. Okay. Attack, we're going to go about 3 ms on that. Ratio 2:1, very good. Release between 80 and 120. So let's do about 110. The knee about 0.4. We're going to turn auto gain off. Where are we? Yeah, I want that ducking to hit about 1 to 2 dB there, but I also want to see something here. Yeah, I lost some of the volume. That's what I was looking at. Okay. All right, cool. I just don't want it to get away from me either. Okay. So, not too shabby. Once again, nothing has been nothing has been balanced. So let's go ahead and see if we can get. Actually, you know what I want to get is this electric piano taken care of, which is not even here yet. So actually, I lied. Okay. I'm not even sure I want to do anything to this guitar. I'm going to add a little console on there. Yeah, let's get to this lead guitar. And actually, this is just a channel. It's off. Niveau. There we go. All right. Let's see what we got here. In this case, I like the visual of a graph EQ because I'm not really sure it needs a lot of high pass filter on this guitar. I'm liking the tone as it is, so I may not mess with this too much. I might just do a little cleanup around. I'm going to just go up to 60, maybe 75. All right, I'll go with a little bit of the dip around the 300 for mud. And just yeah, we're gonna take a little bit around the 3K range. Just a little bit, a little like 1 dB. All right, and then let's put on our compressor. And we are going to put a little tape on this to see if we can make it sound a little richer, a little warmer maybe. Put time constant 2 here. $16.7, okay. All right, and let's get a little tape on there. Let's see what the J37 tape is gonna do for us here. Oh, that's after the tonal EQ. I'm just so curious if the tape is going to add much, so I'm leaving that space to remind me that the tonal EQ goes there. I'm leaving it on nominal. I want it a little clean. I just want to give it a little warmth. Yeah. Yeah. All All right, so let's get to rhythm guitar. We're going to treat... We're going to use a rhythm guitar chain on this wah bus. On the wah bus. And let's get down here to NLS. Bus, turn off noise, Nevo. Now what I need is to see where this is hitting so I can just get to that part. What are we doing? Oh, yeah. All right. Let's get some subjective EQ in here. This is so exciting because I have the old session as well. Hey, KQ? Hello. Sorry, I'm missing the chat. So I saved the old. Okay, back up. I saved the last mix that I did on this song. So I'm very excited to A/B the two of these and see if there is quite the difference. Already I can tell, like, it's not as, it's starting to sit better. Mind you, yes, I do need to balance some things, but I feel like it's not as sweeping as what I needed to do beforehand. So that's pretty exciting. And I really love this idea of, doing the subtractive EQ along with the running it through a console. So like kind of thinking about how you would like how it would been done at Stax or Muscle Shoals with the console board. I don't have that, it's digital, so I'm basically running everything through the console board. Little subtractive EQ, some compression, and then some things get tapes, some things don't, and that's just the way it is. And I might be coming back to do tape on the lead vocals. Because like I said, this was done in an analog studio, but there was no tape involved. But he did have a really nice analog console. So we'll see as we go. Vocals may need it, they may not. But my mistake was, one more thing was I was adding tape at the top of the chain on all the mix buses. And I think that was kind of squishing the shit out of it was just taking the life out of my song. So let's see how this goes. All right, we're going to do a little bit around 250, especially for the wah. And we're going to dip that minus 1.5. And we're going to go ahead and just dip a little bit at the 35 around here too. Just because it's wah pedal, you know? A lot of... That's going to be fun. There's going to be a lot of automation on those to get those little pickups. There's a lot going on at the end of this song, so it might be like, okay, we don't need all that happening. Let's see what happens. All right, we're going to do the time constant 2. Trying to get some glue, musical glue on this little puppy here. For that's all right. And because I did not do this through tape, we are going to go ahead and add some tape on this as well. Normally, now when I record, I usually do a little tape as an aux send through my Apollo, but I know I didn't do this through tape. Here I'm also going to leave a space because I know I got to do some tonal EQ. I like to do that last. I don't know why, because I like to really be paying attention, and I like to get the balance first. All right, tape. So we're going to do 811 formula, 15, bias about 3. Works. Yeah, and I think I'm going to add tape to the vocals too. I'm going to go ahead and do that because I think it does need it. Or I'm going to make a note to myself too. All right. Yeah, I'll make a note to myself. Okay. Last thing I want to do, I wanted to get the kind of the meat and the potatoes because I want to get the electric piano early on in this song. Let me also save this because horns and strings are both going to be duplicated and then treated differently. And I don't know if I want to get into all of that tonight too much. Whirly, okay. Harp. Yeah, we could do a little something on that too. But let me get over into, there's an electric piano only on the verses, and I just want to go ahead and get that done. It's not a huge part, but it's one of those kind of interesting parts. It was inspired because as many times as I've listened to Chain of Fools, I never noticed that there was this little cool little electric piano part happening in the background. Gain tool. I want to bring this down a little bit. Yeah, those waves were giant. Yeah, maybe on this wah guitar here too, eh? Yeah, let's take that down a little bit. This is crazy. You be crazy. You don't need to be all like that. Probably gonna have to reattend to that, but it just needs, yeah, it just doesn't need to be that wild. Oh yeah, that's way better. All right, let's go ahead and get this electric piano knocked out. Let's get that on an LS. Channel Nevo. Why is this off? Good job, good job. Oh, that's so nice. It's so, I love this. Like, as you do this, you're like, oh yeah, let's do that gain thing. And makes it so much nicer. All right, little subtractive EQ on this baby. And this is kind of nice too, because it's really about just seeing if you can just deal it out, follow the steps, and then start engaging your ears. Like, this is really not about me trying to get any kind of tone or anything. I'm really just trying to clean up stuff. I'm trying to get things to kind of sit in a little bit better. I'm looking at some of the sound waves, taking them down if they look giant, like that electric piano one did, and some of the wah guitar, and basically just trying to get everybody to calm down and start clearing a little space for everybody, you know, without having to like really pay attention to how I'm shaping them with the tonal EQ stuff. So I think this is what excites me more about this process. So I've already started with the mix bus, got an overall tone of the whole project itself, and now I'm just going in and I'm going all the way up to compression on all of these, and except for the bass. I went ahead and did the entire chain on the bass because I wanted to make sure I had the last compressor ducking for the kick drum, because that is pretty important, I think, going forward, balancing especially this style of music. Okay, let's keep going. So subtractive EQ on the electric piano, we're going to do 90. High pass filter, we're going to dip around to 50. To just clean up any mud. We're going to do about 1.5 because I can hear it. It's pretty warm. And then we are going to, what are we doing? All right, we'll turn this on. And because we're going to do around 4.5K, we're going to dip here about -1. And I'm going to go ahead and add a little boost, like just barely any, around 1.2K, just because I know that it could stand something like that. Just very, very subtle stuff here. And let's get the Puig Child on here as well. So as you can see, most of the stuff has mixed buses. Some of these, like the lead guitar, has its own channel. Same with the electric piano, because they're just standalone little parts. All right, we're going to do the time constant about 3 here. So we're doing this a little tighter glue on this without choking the dynamics on the electric piano. That's where we're going up to the 3 here. And then already. Alright, that works. Let's get some tape on her. Also, 811 15. Saturation about 2.5. Yeah, I like the bias 3. Okay. I really love how this is coming along. Nothing is like making me go, oh shit, I gotta fix that. You know, like let's go back to this rhythm guitar. I'm on the fence about this guitar. I'm not sure it's going to stay in the song, to be honest. But just in case. I'm going to try just grabbing the same. This is the same as the rhythm. Yeah, already. I know that's not staying on the verses, so I just took it down. It might go at the outro when I want things to be kind of big, and I might throw it on like the refrain a couple of times, maybe. Okay, so we've got the wah, lead vocal, buzz, harmony. I'm still on the fence about tape on the vocal, and okay, we got strings, horns, flutes, and harp. Now, all right, we're gonna have to come back to this. What I am going to do, though, to kind of get a head start, is I'm going to go ahead and duplicate these tracks. Look at this. What's going on with this tambourine? Did something wackadoodle with it. Same thing with the shaker too. That's going to be so much better when I do pull those in. All right. So what I'm going to do is new track with duplicate setting. I'm going to just copy it, paste it. That's how I'm going to do it. And then I like to go back and solo these to make sure they're exactly lined, or they'll sound phasey and weird. Yeah, like that. I know there's a better way to do this too. So let's try that again. I think there's a better way. It looks pretty spot on to me. Yeah, maybe not. All right. I'm going to have to look into how to do that better. This is not working for me. And I'm very tired, so I don't have the patience to really figure this out right now. And of course, I'm going to keep going anyway against my better judgment. So the whole point really is to duplicate these and slightly detune the second track to make it sound a little more realistic. I don't know if this is going to work or not. I haven't tried it before yet. This is a totally new thing for me. I've been looking around at different ways to make, your horns and your strings using Logic MIDI stuff sound more realistic. And I know there's, all kinds of other external plugins and etc. that you can use. However, this is an older track and I like the parts, and I'm not willing to go searching around to redo the parts. So and besides, I'm just curious. It's a curiosity thing too. Like, I just finished a custom song in which I had to really get the strings to sound realistic, and it worked out. So it's kind of exciting when you can there is some satisfaction of kind of figuring it out a little bit old school. For me anyway. Maybe because I like to tinker. I don't know. It's kind of like looking under the hood of a car. Yeah, I don't know if that's going to work or not. I'm not really sure. I'm not really loving it. Let me see what you guys look like under the microscope here. mean, look pretty spot on to me. Maybe not. Huh? Yeah, okay. I'll have to look into that. I'll have to do a little deeper dive on figuring that out. Right now, I'm just going to delete this. All right, well, that's what we got so far. And so far, I got to say, I'm liking it. I like that there's a lot of putting this together has alleviated a lot of the pressure from the get-go where I was trying to do everything one at a time. This kind of helps, that approach of like doling out the stack of cards kind of thing. And I suppose we could go ahead and do the horn and the string bus. Wouldn't hurt. Yeah, because we're going to do a whole different mixed bus for the duplicated horns on that. So let's go ahead and see what we got by this will be the first one, and I'll have to move some things around tomorrow, but I also want to take a look where I've got a lot of the horns and the strings happening at the same time. Which is going to be the outro, of course. All right. All right. Let's get their subtractive EQ in here. That'll be nice to open up the project tomorrow. I know that I've gotten pretty far on this too. It'll be nice to have at least, that horn section ready to go, and the duplicate. Yeah, it'll be good. It'll be good. All right, so 80 to 100. We're going to split the difference, do about a 90 high-pass filter on the horns here. And we're going to do a little bit around 300. We're going to do a little dip. We're going to do it about 1.5. Again, trying to do the subtle thing just to make sure, that that we're not trying to like go around and correct a bunch of other stuff too. So I've learned that this is way better. And notch this at about 0.5. 10. So we'll do about there. All right, and let's get the Puig child on here. Time constant about 2 here. So there you go. I don't know about you, but already I can hear like the bari sax a little bit better. Maybe it's my imagination, but I don't think it is. All right, let's get the tape on here. 811, 15. Saturation about 2.5. 2 to 3. I'm going to go ahead and do up to 3. Now we are going to add a little wow and flutter. Wow, like not much, like 0.1. And about 0.3 here on the flutter. Yeah. Oh yeah, already sounding way cooler in my opinion. So let's go ahead and do the strings as well. Okay, I'm looking for my strings, looking for the strings. All right, I'm gonna have to go pull up the old file for the strings for the moment. All right, let's go ahead and get on the strings. Where are you? Strings buzz. There you go. Let's get the console. There you go. Alright, we're going to do a high pass filter, about 100 on the strings here. Alright, and tape 11, 15, nominal. That's nice. That's awesome. All right, let's get flute while we're at it. Mine as well. We're here. Where do I have the flute? Right, and we'll turn this in Nevo. That's pretty nice already. This all the way up to my next one. Let me take off about just a little harshness there for now. We'll grab the pubic child. works for me. Let's put some tape on you. Let's just grab this. It's going to be the same. Alright, that works for me. And let's also grab the harp while we're here. Yeah, I put a harp in this song because hell yeah. Because harps are cool. Isn't that cool? Give it that little dreamy effect. Really? Yes. We're just going to pull this on over like this. And then we'll do one at a time. Oh, yeah. Works for me. Well, I didn't mean to really do that. I need a little more output. There you go, 17.8. For it to hit the tape. Hey, why do I keep doing that? Actually, I'm gonna keep you. So I need the presence back on the harp. And then we're going to drag the Puig child over. That works for me. And then the tape. That works for me. And I also want to hear it in context with, because I'm plucking here. All right. Okay, so we've addressed all the mixed buses at the moment. Fan-freaking-tastic. Tomorrow I will duplicate the horns and the strings. I'll do a little deep dive on that. And Then we're going to balance the track. Yeah, we'll balance the track. Start adding some of the tonal EQ, and then we'll start panning. I should have had this on. Yeah. Interesting. Yeah, so what we're going to address tomorrow is tape on the vocals, which I think there does need to be tape on the vocals. And we'll start balancing, tonal EQs, automation, and then the last thing we'll add are the universal reverb and delays. And bada boom, bada bing. I am so freaking pleased right now about this process. I can't even tell you. Exhaust 4246, what's up? What is up? Yeah, we're gonna mess with the vocals tomorrow. I want to get a little clarity around the tape setting around the vocals. And this is just the only thing we've done is added basically what the process would be, running through console, some subtractive EQ, compression, and some tape. That's it. There's no tonal EQ on this. We're in mono. Nothing has been panned. Nothing has been balanced. This is just straight up seeing if this process that I have painstakingly put together is going to cut my mix time in half. And already I feel like it has. Already I am so much further ahead on the mix bus. I don't feel overwhelmed or cluttered. I feel like I've got a nice template to go forward with, and that it's not going to be that hard to start balancing. There's going to be some automation involved, clearly, yes. And because not all the instruments are going through the entire song, so I'll be weaving some things in and out. And then, of course, we got to double the horns, double the strings. Probably going to do some parallel compression on both of those, and possibly the bass if needed. And then bada boom, bada bing, we're going to have ourselves another song mixed. I am so excited. I feel like I'm just really moving and grooving. Doing these custom songs, having to mix and master them myself has taught me so much. And also my songs in the interim. So I finished You and Me Together, Question Everything, now Don't Give Up. And then I've got Swamp Song and a song called Love Won't Let Me Fall Unless I'm Falling for You. I'm doing some vocal work for another song. Somebody asked me to do some harmony stuff and vocal work on their songs. I'm doing that tomorrow. And yeah, and I've got a couple of custom song orders in as well. So pretty cool to be inundated with business, and also to the point where I am able to really kind of streamline this process. Y'all, you have no idea. This has been so amazing to do this. All right. Hope any of this has been helping. Please subscribe to my channel and follow me, as I am just doing a lot of behind the scenes, just kind of, showing you the human side of what it is as an independent artist, as you're mixing and learning as you go. And because it's constantly learning, right? Because no song is the same. And also finishing my EP and recording some more. I'm going to be doing, hopefully by midweek, I'll be doing some of the vocals, redoing some of the ending vocals of my song, Love Won't Let Me Fall Unless I'm Falling for You. It's a yummy ass Stax meets Atlantic Records Muscle Shoals ballad, and it's I couldn't be more proud of this song. I really, really love this song. And it's got a lot of call and answered vocals and kind of sweetness, but also punchiness to it. So it's got power, but also a sweetness. And yeah. If you were interested in having a custom song for yourself or an event or a ceremony or a partner, birthday, holiday, whatever, give me a holler. All my information is below in the description. And I think I will be on tomorrow night, more than likely, because I am very excited to get this song done. It's one of my favorite songs that I've written. And until then, I'm off to see the wizard, you guys. Sweet dreams. Good night. Oh, now I have to figure out how to stop streaming with this new setup. Oh, right here.